Hello and welcome to another Blender Cookie tutorial. This is David Ward, and in this tutorial we're going to go to part 2 of our little Groundhog character here. Now, first thing I want to do, well, before I jump into that, let me just go over what we're going to cover here mostly. We're going to go ahead and finish out the rest of the body and add the arms and legs and hands and feet, paws, whatever you want to call them, and do some general cleanup on the face here. We might get into adding seams, and maybe we'll get to texture. We'll see how far we get. So anyways, all that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. I think we're in edit mode already. Yes. Okay. First thing I want to do is add a loop right here on the edge of the nose, because I want to, for stylistic purposes, I want to sharpen this edge of the nose, at the top of the nose there. So I'm going to grab those two loops there, and I'm going to go Control E, and I'm going to edge slide. I'm going to slide those up to where they're a lot closer to that edge right there, and you can see that adds a bit better seam there, a bit more angled, like so. Okay, one more thing I want to do is go and add a loop right here, and this will be more for texturing purposes later on, a better separation between the nose and the rest of the face. So we'll just add that loop there so it separates it nicely. Okay, now with the top edge being sharp, I'd like to kind of soften up the rest of it. So let me just grab this loop here, and then maybe these guys as well, and just deselect the top part there. And I'm going to go W, smooth, and we're going to do that a couple of times. There we go. Okay, so that's looking pretty good, I guess. Alright, now let's go on to the rest of the body. We'll tab into edit mode, back into edit mode, I guess, and grab the face select, and let's just select all of these bottom guys there. And come into side view, go ahead and make sure we deselect those noses there. Oh, one thing I need to do on my user preferences, input emulate 3-button mouse. I thought I saved that before, but I guess not. Oh, I have to save it as part of the default Blender. When you change something in user preferences that you want to stay there all the time, once you get it set the way you want, you go save as default, and it'll save that as a default. But you should do it with a new scene, because if I were to do it now, it would put this this groundhog model in every new scene. Which, you know, if you want to create like a base head model or something that you can start from every time you come into Blender, make a new scene, that might be something you want to do. But for me, I like to start with the default cube no matter what. So anyways, we got the body selected here. Let's just go ahead and extrude out. And let's just drag it all the way down here to the bottom there, and maybe scale it down a little bit. And then we're going to add some loops in here. Actually, I'm going to add more than just the one. Hit arc and then scroll your mouse wheel. Or you can hit page up, page down. So let's put 3 in there. And tell you what, I kind of find it distracting that, you know, if I move this, you can kind of see it moving the others, even though if I have proportional editing turned off, it still kind of gently moves around it. And if I were to turn off the subsurf, you can see it does not move that around there. So I'd kind of like to have it not move that around there as I'm working too, if that makes sense. So I'm going to turn off the edit, you know, smooth the edit cage as well. So go ahead and turn this back on for now, and scroll my mouse wheel up to where I get better fall off there. Okay, and this guy too. Okay, so this is going to be a fairly rotund creature here. Of course, we need to bring in, when we extrude it out, it's extruded down. So let's grab all these guys here and make sure we turn that on so we can get the back faces as well. Bring those in. About like so. And then let's grab this bottom point that will be the lowest part of his body, the crotchal region. Let's bring that up some. Then we'll come in here, kind of just shape the torso to kind of just look like a fat humanistic character. My brain keeps wanting to think that this is a two-sided thing, even though it's just got the mirror. I'm only working on one side. Sometimes I grab this side over here by accident, which works as well, I suppose. But gives you the mirror effect that what you're trying to do. Okay, let's bring this back up some. Let's put a loop right there. Kind of scale it down, give him a little bit of separation between his upper body and his lower body. And let's put one loop right here. And then let's jump into sculpt mode and make sure we got the smooth tool. And let's just come in here and kind of just smooth this up in here. It'll be a little easier. Like so. Again, I was trying to work on the mirrored side. Can't do it, Dave. Okay, now let's get the grab tool and kind of just start shaping it as we need to in here. And let's turn on the old wireframe there so we can see what we're doing a little better. Make sure optimal display is on still. Yes. Okay. Give him some little man boobs. Bring that belly out there. He's been hoarding all summer and eating nuts and berries and I don't know what all else all winter long. It's Thanksgiving meal, Christmas meal. All the holiday excuses to gorge himself. He's taking advantage. So he's a big old fat guy. Maybe that's why he's scared of a shadow when he sees it in the spring. He's like, oh Lord, I've gained a lot of weight. That's scary, so he jumps back in his hole. Okay, so just a generic fat guy shape. Let's give him a waist here so we can give him some little love handles on the side here. Of course, most of this will be covered up by his fur when we get to that point, but still fun to make him look authentic. Get that point there up if I can grab it. There we go. There we go. Couldn't grab it before. I got it finally. Almost there. Okay, I think that'll probably work for the most part. You can sit there and play with it some more if you want to. Let's give him a little bit of a spine here. Let's just hop in the edit mode to do that. Let's grab the middle of the back and just drag it in. Maybe drag this over. Yeah. Okay, I think that'll work for the body part. Let's go ahead and turn the wireframe off so I can see it a little better. It's looking okay. It looks a little out of proportion for his head though, so let's select all this part here. Make sure our fall off is on. I call it fall off. It's, it's called proportional editing, but I know it pretty well, so I call it fall off for short. I got it. I gave it a nickname. Hit the right button here. There we go. Okay. I want to kind of curve this up. Actually, let me deselect these guys here. I want to curve this up a little bit further up behind him. He's got bad posture. He's lazy. Maybe bring this whole bottom part back a little bit. Okay, so that's looking nice and obese. Smooth it up just a little bit. Okay, now to help out a lot once we add his arms and legs, so let's do that real quick. Let's grab our face select mode and let's select this area right here. Just those 9 squares. Let's deselect all those ones that we selected by accident. Just the one, okay. And this is going to be his shoulder, so we'll extrude out a little bit and kind of scale it down, decrease our fall off there, and maybe extrude out a little bit more. Rotate it around towards. Going to have him with his arms more or less out to his sides, you know, kind of just a generic 3D model. We'll pose him later on, obviously, but for now we'll just go ahead and put his arms out to his side. I'll just extrude this and then kind of like on the body, just drag it way out there, and then add some loops in here to get more detail, like on his elbow area, like that. And then grab the vertices instead there. Okay, and let's go to our top view. Grab that elbow and make it a little smaller again. There we go. Kind of looking like it's kind of squaring off here on the back, so let's grab that whole loop there. Actually, probably just select that. I don't want the front and back though, so let me deselect. There. Okay, now we'll just drag it up and over and let it round off some. Okay, just kind of getting the same thing. You know, it'd be a little easier just to jump back into sculpt mode. Use the old smooth tool. Just brush that lightly over that corner. And that'll probably work okay. Now I want to add more detail, obviously, the further we go. But for right now, the arm looks like a good placeholder there. Let's go ahead and grab the end of the arm there, the wrist area, and let's start working on a little paw, a little hand. We'll extrude out. Turn our fall off way down. Extrude out again. And I'd like to, you know, when you're standing with your arms out and your palms are in a natural pose for all your bones in your forearm to be straight, your palms would be facing out. So I like to model with the palms facing forward rather than down like some models, because, like I said, the forearm bones, when the palms are facing down, your forearm bones are basically twisted. So when your palms are facing out, they're straight side by side. So I like to keep it as natural a pose as possible. So I usually model with the palms facing forward, so the forearm bones would be comfortable, if that makes sense. Let's grab those and smooth them out. Saw a lot of corners in there. I don't like that. Let's grab these here, see if we can't round it off. Okay. So this is going to be the hand. Let's turn the rotation to be around the view, and that just lets you scale and rotate around what you're looking at rather than like the global. Like if you go to the side view, this will be the global y-axis, or actually z-axis, I guess, in Blender, and then this would be the y-axis, and then this would be the global x-axis. But say, like I said, I want to scale it. I want to make it wider, but you know, if I scale it on the y-axis, it's going to skew it like that. So if you turn the orientation to go around the view, you can set your view up to be about the way you want, like right there. It looks pretty flat. And now, if I grab the scale manipulator mode right there, you can see it turns the tips of the gizmo here into squares, and you can just click on that and just drag it, and it'll scale that along this axis, which, as you can see, makes it flatter and it doesn't skew it. So, it's a quick little tidbit of info there. Let's grab these and extrude those out. And this is going to be our hand. Since it's having humanistic qualities, we'll go ahead and call it a hand instead of a paw. And then we'll grab these three faces here. Actually, let's grab these middle ones right there. And then we'll come to our view, straight into our view again. And let's start making a little finger there. And then we'll come up on our first knuckle. Let's add some loops in there, then all the way to the end. I'm just going to give him the one joint there. You know, a typical finger has 3 joints, but I'll just give him those 2 there. And let's grab our edge select mode now and grab that one, scale it down a little bit, and then grab this guy, scale that one down. And let's give him one more loop right there just so we can round the end of the finger off a little bit better. Get the vertices there. Scale that down. Okay. And let's grab the edges. Let's go to our top view, or above it. Still in our view orientation. Grab the sides of the finger there. And I guess these guys as well. And then we'll come down here and kind of scale those up like so. So it rounds the finger off a little bit better. As you can see, it's kind of skewed there. So what we can do is the same thing where we're trying to get away from by going to the view. We can actually use that to our advantage and kind of get this lined up the way we want and then scale it like so to where it's more accurately displayed there, about like so. Okay, let me kind of just go in here manually so I can get these points here and grab the right ones. There we are. Just kind of drag those up so it's a little bit better. Maybe we'll just flatten the top of this. Okay, so that's a pretty decent looking finger. And why not? Let's just go ahead and give him a fingernail. How's he gonna hog through the ground if he doesn't have any fingernails on? Let's put one more loop there just so we can have a better edge on the top of our fingernail right there. And we're just gonna extrude out a little bit. Actually, don't even move it, just hit E and then just go ahead and right click to lock it in, and then we'll turn off our proportional editing, scale it down a little bit, and actually drag it down. Make sure we're going down the right way. There we go. And then extrude back up. And then just kind of rotate it about like so. And it's not the best fingernail in the world, but it'll probably work for our cartoonish purposes. Let's go ahead and square the tip of it up a little bit better. Maybe make the inside of it. Don't want that guy. Okay, I think that'll work. And you know what? Let me go ahead and add a seam to it right now just so I don't have to do it later. Just select that loop around the base of the thumbnail or the fingernail, Control E, and mark a seam. And that'll, you can see later on once we get into marking the seams for everything else that'll save some time, since we're going to be duplicating this newly built finger for all the other fingers. We won't have to go through there and mark every nail. It'll be marked by default once we duplicate them. Okay, let me get this straightened up a little bit better. A lot of playing around, a lot of trial and error stuff on this type of thing. Okay, there we go. Now, let's select all of these vertices here and then the whole rest of the finger. Okay, make sure we're in the top view. I'm going to Shift D to duplicate that over to here, and we're going to connect it down there. I'll scale it down just a little bit, and then we're going to duplicate that one over to here. Scale that one down quite a bit. That's going to be his little pinky. And then we're going to duplicate again over to here, and then we can scale that one up. And actually, let's rotate that to where it's pretty straight with the scene, and then we're going to scale it down a little bit. And let's grab this loop there and scale that up. Let me turn on my proportional editing again. Grab the right ones. There we go. His thumb will be a little thicker than the rest of the fingers. Okay, so that's basically what his hand's going to look like once we connect them all. Oh, looks like I missed part of a loop there. That's easy to fix. We'll just grab the bottom, extrude that, and then grab these two. Hit F to make a face. Grab those. F to make a face. Same thing on this guy. Just grab that bottom loop, or the bottom edge there. Extrude out, and then we'll just finish off the loop right there. There we go. Okay. Now what we need to do is grab these guys on the hand, and we'll go ahead and extrude them out just a little bit and scale them down. Let's go ahead and turn off our fall off again. Okay, just extrude them out, scale them down, and we'll go ahead and delete those faces. There we go. And you know what we could actually do? Let's undo a couple of things. Let's go undo it back. And let's not extrude that out. Let's go ahead and just delete those faces. And the same thing on this side. Just go ahead and delete those. And now we'll grab the edge. We're going to grab this edge right here. Then grab the edge on the hand. Hit F to make a face. And grab this guy and this guy. F. And then this guy and this guy. And just kind of go through here and just kind of sew it together. Piece of cake. If you grab the right ones, that is. There we go. Okay, same thing on this finger. Oops. There we go. Always helps if you select the right. Now here's something you might run into. As you can see here, I tried to connect these faces, but it says cannot find a nice quad from concave set of meshes, and that's because, well, that just wouldn't make a very pretty square, would it? So what we need to do is grab some of these vertices and just move them around until they would line up to make a better quad. So now if we do it, there we go. Almost there. And there's this. Oh, wrong one. That's why. There we go. Okay, so all the fingers are attached. Let's work on this thumb now. And I guess we're going to put him on right there. So let's just go ahead and delete those faces. And we'll do the same thing with the thumb that we did with the finger. Now I selected a face. I'm going to hit Control L. And it's going to select everything that's connected except for the thumbnail, which is a different, it's disconnected by the seams. So I'll go ahead and select the thumbnail there. Now if we had selected a vertex and then Control L, it will select everything. So kind of just depends on how you're working there. So grab the edges again and just sew the thumb on as well. And we run into the nice quad there again. Now sometimes you can get around that by just skipping it and going on. Like I'll just add that. Now if we try it again, it adds it, even though it didn't really change anything. I guess it's saying, hey, it worked for this guy, so you go ahead and do it now too. So now, like we did on the fingers, we have to extrude that out so we have a nice complete loop there, and then we can go in. I guess this guy needs to go to that one. Now the topology is looking a little odd right now, but we'll clean that up once we get everything connected. Okay. Now, what's going on here? I must have hit delete or something by accident. Okay. Okay. So we've got all the fingers on the hand. Let's grab the base of the thumb there, scale it up. Let's go ahead and turn on our fall off again. Proportional editing. Okay. And let's grab some of these points. Actually, let's just grab this whole shebang right there. And we want to go W, and we're going to hit smooth a few times just to get that automatically cleaned up. So there we go. And let's do that on all of the bases of the fingers. About like so. Good. Yes. W smooth. Just gonna get those all smoothed up. There we go. Now we need to say, go back to object mode, so we can go up here to smooth shading, so you get some of those new faces that you added on there to be smoothed up. Okay. Now, I know what you're thinking. Ew, that doesn't look very good. And right, it does not look very good. We need to clean up some of this. So let's go back into edit mode. And let's add one more loop right here, just so we can have a more distinguishable wrist. Okay, that's already turned on. Increase the fall off there. Okay. And let's kind of just play with it here, get it sculpted up to look a little bit more like a natural hand, even though it's a paw. He's a humanistic character, so he will have humanistic qualities. I know there's another word for the humanistic part, but can't think of it off the top of my head right now. Let's add a loop right here. Personification? Yeah, something. Okay, so that's looking a little better. Still looks a little odd, but I think that's due to the fact that the pinky is so much smaller than the rest of it. So tell you what, let's not leave him out in the cold. Let's make him a little bit bigger, just so he matches the rest of the hand a little bit better. And then maybe we'll make this middle finger not necessarily smaller, but let's make it a little less wide, a little thinner, about like so. And we'll do the same thing on the, actually the whole finger itself, it's just the tip of it really that needs to be a little smaller. About like that. Okay, and let's get the index finger as well, if I can get rotated around here the way I need to. There we go. Just like that. Okay, and maybe the thumb tip will come out a little bit. There we go. And let's give him a little bit of the webbing, you know, between your thumb and your index finger. Let's increase that a little bit more. Yeah, that's better. Okay, I think that hand looks quite a bit better than it did before. Let's give him a little bit more definition right there. Maybe rotate the whole thumb. There we go. I think that'll work. Now let's kind of clean up the wrist area and the elbow. Let's add another loop right there. Then maybe another loop in between, and then scale it down. Grab this guy, make the form a little bit bigger towards the top and then kind of tapering down towards the bottom. You know what, I kind of like to make the whole hand a little bit smaller. Bring that back. Okay, so got his hands pretty well done. Let's put a slight bend in his arm. If I can get in and get that loop. There we go. Maybe make his wrist a little bit smaller too. He's got a big body but small arms and legs. Well, we don't have his legs yet, but you can kind of see where it's going to go. Make his hands a tiny bit smaller. Oops. Let's put the 3D cursor right there. Cursor to select, and then we're going to hit period to scale and rotate around it, and then we'll select the hand. So it scales, instead of in the middle of nowhere, we'll have it scale there on the wrist, so it stays basically where it needs to be lined up. Yeah, I like that. Okay. We're going to need to clean up the body a little bit more, but before we do that, let's go ahead and see if we can get something going for the legs. Let's select this whole loop right there. You know what? Sometimes I accidentally select the face back there, so what I'm going to do, go back here, turn off the mirror side, so I'm not selecting incorrectly. Just select what I'm basically what I'm trying to select. So you know what, let's just select these guys right here. Maybe scale them up. Control comma to get that 3D cursor, rotate around the selection instead of the 3D cursor, which is way up there. Maybe scale this up just a little bit. Then we're going to extrude down, scale it down. And this is going to be our legs. So, kind of like on the reindeer tutorial, if you saw that, the legs are going to be kind of where they come down, and then the knees right here, and then it goes down. And it almost looks like his knees backwards, kind of like a bird or something, but basically the knee is just way high. And then the bend is actually the heel, an ankle of the foot, and then it comes down and he kind of stands on his toes. So I actually won't be making his legs that long, but just for illustrative purposes. Extrude down. Make his knee real short, about right there. Extrude one more. Let's go ahead and turn off the proportional editing for now. It's going to be back to his ankle. Ooh, need to straighten this up. Let's grab this whole shebang here, put our 3D cursor there, go ahead and rotate it around it again. Just rotate his legs in. Let's go ahead and turn the proportional editing back on. Maybe, actually, we'll just build it straight for now. I was going to rotate it around so he's kind of bow-legged, but we'll leave it straight for now. We'll rotate it out after we finish it. So let's grab these faces here. Control comma, back to the selection. There we go. Extrude down. Start rotating it. Start rotating it. And then we'll come down. And this is actually his foot area, so let's go ahead and start widening it out. Like that. Come down a little bit more. Start rotating it. And then come out like so. And this will be the balls of his feet, basically. He's standing on his tippy toes. Okay, now, instead of building his individual toes, let me grab one of his fingers, and we'll just kind of duplicate those, or, you know, the same thing. Just grab this loop here, all that. Let me hit the period button so it focuses on that. Okay, Shift D, duplicate that. Let's go to our side view. Drag it all the way down to here. Rotate it around until it's lined up the way it needs to be. Okay, and let's kind of just edit it here to where it looks more like a toe than a finger. Just kind of scale it up and maybe shorten it some. Oops. Okay, that's kind of skewed over to the side, isn't it? Let's go to our top view of our actual scene. And tell you what, let's rotate around the... Pardon me, let's rotate around global again. And control comma. So we're... Oh, for some reason I had the whole body selected. Why isn't it rotating around the 3D cursor? There we go. Or selection. Okay, so good to go. Now let's get everything straightened up a little bit better. Somehow it really got misaligned. Let's turn off the editing, or proportional editing for now, so we can actually straighten up each vertex that we grab instead of worrying about it affecting others as well. That proportional editing is relatively new for me. I didn't actually find it till a few years after I had started using Blender. I was like, oh, well, that's a lot easier. Because when I was modeling something, I'd go through there, and instead of, you know, the proportional editing affecting smoothly around it, I just do like I'm doing now and just grab each vertex individually and just move it. And boy, it took forever to model anything. Okay, that's a little better. Let's get this moved up a little bit. Move this down. Just kind of try to straighten it out. Okay, that looks better. Somewhat. Get some weirdness around the back end of this nail bed. I think that'll work. Okay, so let's tie this toe. Wow, it came out way far from the foot. Grab that toe, let's move it over about to the foot toe area there. Let me scale it up some. And let's grab the foot there, scale it down so it's a little skinnier. Okay, well, let's get this situated so we can easily sew some toes on here. Now, most characters, when you're building them, you don't really need to put toes on the feet, but on an animal, like especially a humanistic animal that you're going to see his feet, he's going to have toes and claws on his feet as well as his hands. So kind of an odd shape going on right here. How many vertices do I have right here? 12. Okay, I'm going to do something here. I'm going to delete these guys here because you can see it's kind of got a weirdness coming on here. Well, maybe not. Okay, let me just straighten that up, actually. Well, I take that back. It does. I'd like for this just to be straight, but it kind of curves around right here. So let's, like I was going to do before, I'll select all these guys here in the middle. Just go ahead and delete those vertices. There we go. And now let's work set about, create a face there, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 12 vertices. I should be able to cut this in half evenly. delete that edge there. So let's see here. Let's just grab this guy and this guy and just make a face there. Actually, let's grab our edge and just do this. There we go. And then, okay, then we can add a loop right across here. There we go. And we'll need to select these edges. There we go. There. And then we have one orphan over here that we can't make a good face. We could make a face, four-sided face, but tell you what, let's do. Let's grab these 2 points here and just merge those. Center. And there we go. Okay, so now we have, well, basically a spot for 4 toes, which I guess is correct since we have 3 fingers and a thumb. We should therefore have 4 toes. So the toes don't need to be as detailed as the fingers because we're really not going to see those as much. So let's, in order to get these to line up on the foot here properly, nicely, let's get rid of this loop right here. Select that loop, hit X, go down to edge loop. There we go. And now you can see we have 1, 2, 3, we have 6 edges there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And for each toe here, we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that'll line up better. So let's grab our toe, whole shebang there, including the nail, and let's drag it into position here. And we're going to need to make the foot a little bit bigger. Just the foot. There we go. Hi. It's frustrating sometimes. It doesn't read your mind. Like you're supposed to grab all that, not just part of it. But you didn't tell it to grab all of it. Move that over. Okay. So let's grab our toe. Move it over here. Get it lined up about right. Okay. Duplicate that. Shift D. There we go. Scale it down just a little bit. Duplicate that, scale it down, and duplicate that, scale it down. Okay. So that's about right. Let's go ahead and grab our face select. Grab these faces here. Just delete all those. And we will go about, actually let's undo that. Let's just delete every other one. There we go, delete that one. That way we still have an edge to work with as we're sewing together. The way I mean by edge is I mean we still have something to connect the middle to. If I can rotate the scene around the way I want, there we go. Okay. And then we'll go and do this toe. Now we can go in and delete these other 2 faces on these guys. There we go. And now we will sew the remaining 2 toes on. Okay, last but not least, the little pinky toe. Almost there and there. Okay, so now we have our toes attached to our foot. So let's do like we did on the fingers. Grab our vertices. Vertex selects, actually just run across there. Go smooth, just to get those smoothed out. There we go. It looks kind of weird though. So let's go into our side view there. And let's get it lined up. And then let's go back to our orientation view. Let's grab all those and let's just scale them to where they're a lot shorter. There we go. And let's move them. Add a loop right here. Kind of scale that more narrow. Make that one a little thicker. Okay, so we got a reasonable facsimile for our feet. Let's go ahead and jump into sculpt mode. Kind of running out of time here, so we'll see if we can't get this to look a little bit better in a quick amount of time. Got the draw tool. I'm just going to kind of brush this over the top just to thicken it up some. Okay, then get the grab tool there. Grab this, straighten it out some more. There we go. Maybe grab up in here. And maybe sharpen that knee up as well. Thicken it up too. He's got a lot of weight to carry around. His legs should be pretty heavy. Or not heavy, but big. Muscular. Got to carry that weight around all the time. Okay. That's a little too sharp there. Grab the smooth. Just touch that up a little bit. There we go. Okay, let's jump into edit mode real quick. Just to give this a little more definition. Turn on my fall off there. Bring that up. Bring this out. Bring this up. And maybe bring these guys in just to make a little. There we go. And let's make it a little shorter too. Let's go back to our global rotation. Maybe make our knee quite a bit bigger. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Let's add one loop in here just for topology's sake, deformation's sake later on. And let's grab this whole leg that we just made, the whole thing. We're going to scale it down. Let's put our 3D cursor about where we need it. There at the top of the leg. And period button. And just scale around it there. And let's zoom out here so we can kind of get a better idea of where it's going to go. Okay. And let's make his feet a little bit bigger. Control comma. About like so. Okay. And let's kind of just clean up his body as well. Maybe select everything down here. Move it forward. Kind of counterbalance his heavy body. And let's make his waist quite a bit lower. Try and grab the right loop there. Okay, so that's looking pretty decent, I guess. My grab tool. There. Got the thunder thighs. Okay, and like I said before, I want to kind of give his legs a little bit, rotate them a little bit outwards, kind of a bow-legged type of look there. About like that. Maybe smooth up his back a little bit. And while we're at the back, groundhogs do have a very small little tail poking out there, so let's grab these guys. Go to our side view, extrude this out, scale it down, and extrude that out again. Uh-oh. What button I just hit? Oh. Going too small there. Merged together. Let me turn off clipping so I can clean that up. Grab those vertices there. Then these. Turn clipping back on. We got it separated. Glue it back together. There we go. We'll select that whole loop. Make sure everything's merged together. There we go. Okay, now let's get that little tail looking the way we want. And wow, we're 50 minutes in. Hopefully I still have you guys' attention. Extrude down. And a little bit more. And we'll call that good. Keeps going towards the center. Ugh. There we go. Okay, so let's select this whole little tail here and smooth it up quite a bit. And once we put the fur on here, we can make it even more bushy. Not quite as bushy as like a squirrel, but you know, he's got a little bit of a tail there, a little chipmunk tail. Okay, make it a little bit bigger. Okay, and probably got a little bit of cleanup I'd like to do on the body, but as I said, we are pretty well over our allotted time frame, so quick cleanup there. Select the right loop. It might go a little better. Scale that shoulder up just a little bit. Maybe bring it in some there. Okay, I'll quit. I'll quit for now. We got plenty of time in, so we got the whole body done: the arms, the legs, the toes, hands, feet, everything. So should be pretty well set. We'll probably have a few little adjustments to the mesh, and then we'll get into. Pardon me. We'll get into adding a texture map later on. So sorry this one took so long. I'll catch you in part 3. Thanks for watching.